Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Jacob's Ladder. I'm your host, Jacob Israel, and I'm glad that I am here again, not expecting to be here, and my throat is raw. Oh my goodness, I forgot to turn that off. Sorry about that. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to discuss because a lot is happening actually as I'm talking to you right now. A lot is breaking. You take a look at the thumbnail there, and you see what it says. It says, strike. And my goodness, if that title, doesn't mean more to me now than it did before, I was just working on this great big port strike. Who heard about all of this? It's all very suspicious, just like Austin saying in a live chat, everybody give me a thumbs up so I know you're good and you can hear me okay and you're doing well. Strike the same day. October, everybody's talking about the October, the October surprise. Same day that all of the East Coast goes on strike, and then the thing that happened in the Middle East just now with Israel. This isn't good. But they were on notice, right? We saw all the reports this morning, and I didn't want to exaggerate it, and I tried to almost put it out of my memory. I tried to just focus on this big strike that's going on the East Coast for all of the cargo ships and all of the international stuff that's supposed to be brought in. The Dan was panicked about this. 3 a.m, she wakes me up. She goes, Do you know what's happening? She says, you better get to BJ's, and you better get BJ's is like one of those big box stores, okay? Just so you know, it's like a Costco. You better go there and you better get some bread and you better get a bunch of tuna. And I go, Dan, the world's not coming to an end. A system is. Babylon the Great is fallen. It's something that for many years, starting in 2020, I really started hammering this point home that we would see a great shift in the future, and the shift is here. We're seeing the power of the labor, the force, the people exercising their right to strike. We looked into how much they pay. The average pay, I think, is like $39 an hour. It's actually pretty good, but their job is very dangerous, and they're in a union. And the shipping companies and everything else, they're making a ton of money. Why shouldn't they make more money, right? I'm in the wrong line of business. $38 an hour. So they have this contract that was on the table that they're hoping that people are going to accept. And it's basically, I think it's over a 6-year period. And it's like, the news will say it's a 70%. They're asking for a 70% wage increase. Yes, but they're asking for a 70% wage increase over, I think, 6 years. So it's like $5 an hour, over the next 6 years. And the reason is because they're saying the inflation in the Biden-Harris campaign, that they can't keep up. That inflation is so bad that they have to have this strike. Now, why is this all strange? You probably saw when you looked at the thumbnail coming in here, this thumbnail right here. Now, to the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that is the world ahead in 2024. That's the Economist magazine cover. Now, this magazine, we love decoding. In fact, I decoded this very magazine a while ago with the donut. And I did a whole show about it. In that show, I noticed that to the right-hand side of the screen, among other things, which, by the way, in the coming days, we're going to be talking about lithium batteries and about just what went down in the Carolinas and Asheville and all horrible what just happened. If you haven't seen my last show, I did one yesterday. I did one the day before. I do a show at least every other day, sometimes every day, depending on the news cycle. Right now, things are they're just kind of popping off that I kind of have to take it a piece at a time. So I want to just stick with the dock worker strike because this goes back to when Alex and I were talking about it on the show. And I saw this side of the magazine, and I said, that looks a lot like shipping containers. You'll actually notice that below it, you'll see there are electric cars, and there's also lithium. I put that up. If you're not following me on X, you should. You should. I see Truth Seekers here. By the way, Truth Seeker and I, we just talked about this. He was looking forward to this show because he was like, he saw this too. He's like, did you see this, Jacob? And I'm like, yeah, I did. We talked about it a couple of years ago. It's very interesting. But these port closures are a big deal, okay? And I'm going to connect this to everything that's going on in the Middle East, and you're going to see that the timing is suspect. Suspect. It really is. But the biblical ramifications, that of, we'll say, end times prophecy and things that we've read in the book of Revelation, which now can be attributed to today, especially Revelation 18, which speaks of the merchants of the land crying because in 1 hour, all those goods, they're all gone bye-bye. If you don't know anything about the strike, let me tell you, it's not going to affect anything here that's in the States already. So, you don't have to go out and worry about buying a bunch of food and panic and stuff like that, because a lot of this stuff is already in the United States. This is just foreign stuff. This is just companies that are doing business with like China. So, the dock workers, they're the ones that receive all of this international shipping. This is a big deal because it does a couple of things here. It kind of forces us, like if we want to have a successful future as the United States of America, we need to do more manufacturing here. So this is going to be one of these starting off points where we're going to be like, we need to really make sure that we're insulated, that if stuff like this happens. Now, why are they striking? They're striking for a couple of different reasons. One of them they're saying is inflation, but the main reason they're saying is because of automation. Automation is coming. It's coming down the street from me. Amazon Go is opening up. Those stores where you just walk in and you walk out? Literally right down the street from me. They've been trying to put that store in forever. They're going to bring in the robots. That's what people are saying in the live chat. And if you're here already, and there are a lot of people here, let me see how many people here. We got a lot of people here already. Okay, smash the like so that more people come. They're worried about the robots coming because, overseas already they're using a lot of automation. Now, as Industrial Crow is saying in the live chat, that this is very dangerous work. You know what else they talk about? They talk about a lot of the stuff that gets snuck in to these cargo ships. A lot of trafficking going on. Humans, weapons, drugs, a lot of bad stuff comes into these ports, right? Now, I'm not saying that these port workers are, taking a little bit of money on the side so that they can make ends meet. I'm not saying that they're crooks at all. I'm not saying that they're like organized criminal organizations. God forbid. No, I don't say that. But I'm, there are always some few bad apples in the bunch. That stuff, that they find, I'm sure it's minuscule compared to what's really going on. So the strike's already turned violent, which is not so great in Baltimore. Port worker strike has already turned violent. And we're talking about something like 45,000 members of this. I mean, this is a lot of people. This is the whole East Coast, my friends. It's not like, it's not like one port in the city is like shutting down. This isn't like the New Jersey port. This is like everything. This is everything. So, the guy who's in charge, if ever there was a guy that sounded like he was in, organized crime, this guy talks. He talks like something right out of the movies. I'm going to play this to you because he's like threatening like you wouldn't believe. He's talking about how, let me tell you what happens. Nobody understands strikes. He says, the first week the news is going to be up and about. Everybody's going to be talking about the news. But then the week after that, the cars aren't going to come in. So like all the dealerships, they're not going to get their fancy cars. So then all the people selling the cars, they're going to be out of work. I'm not thinking in 2 weeks' time, everybody's going to be out of work, my friends. This is what this guy's saying. And it's 3 weeks later, the malls are going to close down. I mean, he's exaggerating, but there is some truth to what he's saying. How dependent are we on foreign goods? I guess we're about to find out, right? I guess we're about to find out. Same time, we're hearing these bombs dropping all over the port. We're hearing these bombs dropping all over in the Middle East. The same time, strike. A strike. I mean, that's very interesting, especially since this is something that we've been praying, wouldn't escalate. This is something that on the channel that we've thought many times is going to happen. It's going to blow up into something else. And what do? We try to toe the line. We try to stay positive about this. Let me play you this Union guy because he's a trip, this guy. I'm just going to speed it up because he talks rather slow, but also just in case. But I want you to just listen to this guy because this is something else. Make sure your ear isn't blown off. All right.
These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this.
I got to stop that for a second. Because I think to myself, I'm like, doesn't he seem to be taking this? Doesn't he seem to be like rejoicing in this just a little bit too much?
Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me.
He's got a lot of jewelry too. If you look at him, he's got like that big Mr. T starter kit necklace on. Look at that, how thick that necklace is. I wonder what medallion that is.
Putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you. And you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
I mean, you listen to this guy talk, the way he talks. It's we're talking about people's lives. We're talking about people's jobs. Nobody wants to strike. No one wants to be laid off. No one wants to worry that they got to get to the store and get a bunch of stuff like Danielle had me going on chores. She's like, go off and you got to get this and you got to get this. Could it be possibly that maybe God, though, inspires us? Could it be that maybe this is all part of the plan? Maybe that this is a big thing, like a big reset, that they've been planning this for a long period of time and that they decided, you know what we're going to do? We're going to shut down the Eastern Seaboard. We're going to shut it down. Now, I'm not saying that they did this, but you have these magazines that I was speaking about. The World Economic Forum, you've probably heard of. You've heard of all of the UN. You've heard of all of these big organizations. Well, this one magazine, the Economist magazine, very well known, connected to some pretty powerful people, the Childs of Roth, if I remember correctly. So when they put out these things, this is like, as the Donut would say, and I'm sure Truth Seeker would say too, this is like occult symbolism. So when we broke down this cover, it was pretty clear to me that on the eastern side of this cover, it looked like you had like a dock. You had the dock worker, you had the ship, these cargo ships, you had it all. Now, here's what's weird, is if you look at the very bottom, you'll see my post was from when I aired that show, and it was November 19th, 2023. That was exactly, remember we're talking about that number 13 a lot, the 13 and the 17, right? Sounds kooky, but whatever, go with it. It's fun, right? I said, sus, did you know 10 months, 13 days before the East Coast port strike, I aired a collab with The Real Donut posted below, and I speculated we might soon have shipping issues because of the cover? Strange. There's that 13 again. It's just strange. But just because something has 13 attached doesn't mean we got to be all spooked out, right? Except for the fact that Hochul, she puts out this little clip. Let me play this clip to you. This is pretty funny. All right, this clip right here. And I put it up. I said, look, New York Governor Kathy Hochul says the impending East Coast and Gulf Coast port strike set to start today could result in significant disruptions, but urged residents not to stockpile food. This is what she says. Let me just, I'll play this for you. And I got a little freaked out when I noticed I only had 13 seconds to the clip, but hey, what are you going to do, right?
People do not need to rush out to the grocery store and stockpile goods like they did during the pandemic. I want to be very clear about that. We do not want to see people reach that level of anxiety because we are not there.
Governor.
I mean, you think in an hour, it seems, right? Everything changed. Everything changes. And now, what are we looking at? We're looking at this. This just happened. They're saying hundreds were just unleashed. And we all kind of knew it was coming. But, I mean, this isn't good. And now, as it stands right now, there's nothing for us to stress about, right? Because I guess they've stopped their attack and they're moving on. Now, you remember I probably have talked to you about this dream and weird essay that I wrote a long time ago called Will the Wall Literally Fall, back on December 23rd, 2010. I had this dream where the Western Wall in Israel fell because it was attacked. Okay, it was a pretty awful attack. What happened was Israel launched a devastating attack against Palestine. But as I turned in my dream, I saw such retaliation on Israel that in the dream I said to myself, they had no idea what they started. It was a really awful dream, as everyone hopes to see peace one day, but it seems in this region there's never been peace. The reason? Religion. Religion's always the reason. So when I put this out, I said, Will the Wall Fall? A dream essay I had almost 13, there's that number again, years ago. Hope to see an end of escalation. God's will be done. This is a test. The fact that it was posted exactly 1 year, 13 months ago, there's that 13 again, it freaks me out a little bit. Ali in Wonderland. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I don't know why it freaks me out so much, but it does. We're going to get into Revelation 18 in a second. Because in Revelation 18, that this is, this would like, if you were to look at the time frame of things, I guess you could say this would be the time that this would happen. Everything you put your trust in Revelation 18 goes bye-bye. Okay? But the good news is there's a group of individuals, good people, the ones that have been serving God, the ones that have been loving and doing the right thing. They're going to be okay. Actually, God says that they should rejoice in the midst of Babylon falling, because it was a corrupt system. A corrupt system that had to fall. Now, does this mean that because we looked at the magazine cover on the east side of the cover and we see shipping containers, they were telling us there's going to be shipping container problems? If you go to that cover, and I think the donut, maybe Truth Seeker and I should do we'll get 3 people together on this one and we can do like a decode of it. Because even looking back from when it was first released in 2023, pretty accurate with everything else. All the way down to, I wish I had a picture of it. I could show it to you. Let me see if I can pull it up. To the question mark on Trump's right ear, which is strange. Just all of the stuff that they put out, you start to think it's like either they know, they're very good speculators like say I am or others are, and they're kind of like, prognosticating into the future, or, they got a script, or they're all time travelers. Or it's just totally it's just a coincidence. There's no rhyme or reason to it, but it just happened. So I want to bring out this right now, because this is really something that I think it's kind of the key. I think it's what's going on right now. And I want to read this to you. And I really think you should probably read all this on your own. Like go to the Bible, and Revelation is one of those books. It's the Revelation of John. It's very symbolic and everything else. But, you know, it's hard not to draw comparisons to today with this one chapter. So this is John, and it's like he's being revealed, you know, Christ, okay? And he's being shown this is how Christ is going to be revealed. You get what I'm saying? This is how Christ is going to be revealed. I just talked about, you know, the locusts that come out of the bottomless pit and they torment the earth for 5 months. And I did the video with Russell Brand and the baptism, where now he's asking everybody if, you know, is it demonic that I baptize people in my tidy whities? Well, he has a shirt buttoned down to here. These people, in the name of God. It's going to be thrown in our face how corrupt these people are and how they just will continue to get away with it and continue to get praise and continue to have people stick up for them. But their day is coming. It's not over yet. Revelation chapter 8. After all this, I saw another angel come down from heaven with great authority, and the earth grew bright with his splendor. Now, what is an angel? An angel doesn't necessarily mean like a winged beast or a winged creature, or you think of like the Trumpster just shared Michael the Archangel, because I think it was like on the 29th or something, where he's defeating the dragon. And of course, you know, it looks like they have the angels and they have the wings and all that stuff. But really, the word angel comes from the word, I believe in Greek, means evangelos. It's just a man. It's a messenger. Okay? So at this point in time, John sees a messenger who has great authority. And as this messenger speaks and comes down, the earth grows brighter with his splendor. He gives a mighty shout. He says, Babylon the Great is fallen, fallen. She's become a den of demons, a haunt of devils, and every evil spirit. For all the nations have drunk the fatal wine of her immense, intense immorality. The rulers of the earth have enjoyed with her, and businessmen throughout the world have grown rich from all her luxurious living. Ironically, we had from that video game Diablo on June 6, 2023, the 666 day, when all the smoke came down and covered all of New York. Remember, I did a video out. It was weird. I actually bought like these masks because I was scared that it was going to be worse. We had Lilith, the queen of the demons. It's become a haunt of devils. Meaning that people have gotten so corrupt that it's a mess. A little bit later, we read, the merchants of the earth will weep and mourn for her, for there is no one left to buy their goods. She was the biggest customer of gold and silver, precious stones, pearls, finest linens, purple skills, silks, and scarlet, and every kind of perfumed wood and every ivory good, the most expensive wood carvings and brass and iron and marble and spices and perfumes, everything that would come in those ports. Everything. Think about it. All of it. All of it. Perfumes, incense, ointment, frankincense, wine, olive oil, fine flour, wheat, cattle, sheep, horses, chariots, and slaves. What do you think comes in through ports? We're just talking about, people being trafficked. We're talking about cars. The guy was saying, you're not going to get your cars, right? In an hour, people are going to start to grieve. People are going to start to grieve. And all the fancy things you love so much are gone. They cry. The dainty luxuries and splendor that you prized so much will never be yours again. They're gone forever. And so the merchants who have become wealthy by selling Babylon these things shall stand at a distance, fearing danger to themselves, weeping and crying, alas, that great city so beautiful, like a woman clothed in the finest purple and scarlet linen. You ever been in New York City in its heyday with all the bright lights? Looks great. But then you see it in the morning. Doesn't look so good. Doesn't look so hot. And all the ship owners and the captains of the merchant ships and the crews will stand long way off, crying as they watch the smoke ascend, saying, where in all the world is there another city like this? And they'll throw dust on their heads in their sorrow and say, alas, alas, for that great city. She made us all rich. And now, in a single hour, she is gone. But there's good news. In the midst of this strike and everything else, there's good news. It's not, we shouldn't be all freaked out about that. The very next line, this is why you should probably go back and check it out. Read Revelation chapter 18. But you, O heaven, rejoice over her fate. You, O children of God, and the prophets and the apostles, for at last God has given judgment against her for you. At the end, the time is cut short, just like JoJo's saying in the chat right now. This port strike, I see, is very symbolic. And I'd love to talk about it a little more, but I got to go. I wasn't planning on doing this. But with everything, today, 2 strikes. 3rd strike, you're out. You know what I mean? All right, do me a favor, everybody, will you? Will you share the channel around? If you didn't see my last live show, it was really good about everything that went down in the Carolinas. I'm gonna do a little bit of an update on that too, because it turned out that very cover has a lot of stuff that's connected to that too. Yeah. I should just I should show you a little bit just so you know I'm not messing around with you, just to give you a little tease of what's to come. Yeah, freaky, these storms and everything. It's just there's something going on that I think that we need to all look into. I'm going to save it for the next show. That's what I'm going to do. I'll keep you in tune. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share it around, go into the description of the video. If you want to support the channel out, you can get yourself any of the merch. It's getting cold on the East Coast. You can get yourself a Justin Meatball beanie. Coolest beanie going. And that helps me out. I love all of you. I thank you very much. If you want to read, go to Amazon.com, get The Calling. If you want to have like the best product ever that doesn't have any toxins, you probably see Truly Free Home commercials all the time now, because Steven's company is just, God is blessing it. Get yourself some Truly Free Home products. Use code Jacob, you get 30% off. All the links are in the description below. Thank you for your time. I love you all. I gotta go. Gotta take Ethan to the gym again. He wants to get really super fit. All right, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.